Bruce Randall ate 15,000 calories a day, ballooned past 400 pounds, then dropped over 200 pounds and came back to win Mr. Universe. Ronnie Coleman went from a 215-pound rookie to a 297-pound Olympia monster, winning 8 straight titles and pushing the human body to its absolute limit. There are countless other extreme transformations like these, and in this video, I'm breaking down the most insane ones ever recorded. Bruce Randall. Let's kick things off with what many historians, experts, and longtime observers of the sport consider to be the most amazing transformation in the entire history of competitive bodybuilding, and I'm talking about a man named Bruce Randall, whose journey remains unparalleled even decades later. Now, I want you to picture this scenario in your mind. It's the mid-1950s, completely different era in American history, and Bruce Randall is a US Marine who makes a decision that would change his life forever. He decides he wants to get as absolutely massive as humanly possible. Consequences be damned. So what does this determined military man do? This absolute madman starts consuming an astronomically unprecedented 15,000 calories per day. We're talking about eating like it was his full-time job, his part-time job, and his hobby all rolled into one, and in many very real ways, it actually was. The result of this caloric onslaught, Bruce Randall ballooned up to an absolutely staggering, almost incomprehensible 401 to 415 pounds. He was a flabby powerlifter who could move mountains of weight but looked absolutely nothing like the chiseled aesthetic physiques we typically associate with bodybuilding glory and success. But here's precisely where the story gets absolutely insane, where it transforms from impressive to legendary. Bruce Randall made another life-changing decision. He wanted to compete in bodybuilding, so over the course of an excruciating, grueling 32-month period that would test the limits of human discipline, he embarked on a strict diet that saw him drop all the way down to 183 pounds lean. Let that sink in for a moment. That's a weight loss of over 200 pounds of mass from his body. But wait, the story doesn't stop there. Not even close. He then built himself back up, adding quality muscle to his now lean frame, eventually reaching a contest-ready 223 pounds of pure sculpted muscle, and went on to claim the 1959 Mr. Universe title. This wasn't just a transformation, this was nothing less than a complete metamorphosis from one extreme of human physicality to another, proving beyond any doubt that with meticulous dieting, unwavering training, and an iron will, the human body is capable of changes that seem almost supernatural in nature. At a time when bodybuilding barely even existed as a mainstream sport, Randall pushed his body to extremes no one had ever documented before. His transformation wasn't aesthetic chasing, it was an experiment in human limits, discipline, and sheer willpower that still hasn't been replicated decades later. Ronnie Coleman. When we engage in any serious conversation about the craziest transformations in the annals of bodybuilding history, we absolutely cannot, under any circumstances, ignore the man who would become arguably the greatest bodybuilder to ever walk on this planet, the one and only Ronnie Coleman. I want you to picture a young Ronnie Coleman in 1992 making his professional debut at around 215 pounds. He was a police officer from Texas who trained at a place called Metroflex Gym, a hardcore iron dungeon that would become legendary in its own right. While Coleman was certainly muscular by normal everyday standards, he was absolutely nowhere near the freaky, jaw-dropping size he would eventually become famous for across the entire globe. Fast forward through years of legendary training sessions that would become the stuff of YouTube legend with quotes like "Yeah buddy" and "Lightweight baby" echoing through gym speakers worldwide, and Ronnie Coleman transformed into an absolute monster of mythological proportions. At his peak during the 2000s, Coleman was stepping on the Olympia stage at a mind-blowing, almost incomprehensible 297 pounds of shredded, striated muscle. That's an increase of over 80 pounds of pure muscle added to his frame over the course of his career. He was famous for squatting 800 pounds like it was nothing more than a warm-up, and his work ethic was absolutely unmatched in the entire sport, past, present, or future. Coleman went on to win 8 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles, cementing his legacy as one of the all-time greats whose records may never be broken. However, and this is an important part of the story that deserves attention, post-career surgeries and mobility issues from back problems have highlighted the long-term health trade-offs that can come with pushing the human body to such extreme limits. It's a sobering reminder that while these transformations inspire awe and admiration, they can carry a significant cost that extends far beyond the competitive years. What made Ronnie's transformation even more shocking wasn't just the size, it was the strength that came with it. Squatting and deadlifting weights most lifters couldn't imagine, all while staying shredded. Coleman redefined what elite genetics and relentless work ethic actually looked like. Greene. The story of Greene is quite possibly one of the most emotionally compelling and deeply moving transformation narratives in all of bodybuilding history, because it represents so much more than just physical change. It represents a complete reinvention of self, identity, and purpose. Born Leslie Greene on July 12, 1975 in Brooklyn, New York, Kai had what can only be described as an incredibly challenging and turbulent upbringing. From age 6, he was placed in foster care and residential treatment centers due to behavioral issues, a childhood that would break most people before they ever had a chance to truly begin. begin. Bodybuilding became his salvation, his lifeline, his way out. An employee at one of the facilities gave him Arnold Schwarzenegger's The New Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding, which not only sparked his passion for the Iron Game, but actually helped him learn to read. Think about that for a moment. A book about building muscles literally helped this young man develop the literacy skills that would serve him for life. Greene's early transformation was nothing short of remarkable. He began competing in natural bodybuilding federations like the WNBF and NGA, where drug testing was rigorous and strictly enforced. At just 20 to 21 years old, he won the 1996 WNBF Pro Natural Worlds. At this point in his career, he was competing at estimated stage weights around 210 to 220 pounds, with a focus on symmetry, conditioning, and artistic presentation. But the transformation was just beginning to unfold. After earning his IFBB Pro card by winning the 2004 NPC Team Universe, Greene's physique evolved dramatically and rapidly. By his professional peak, he was stepping on stage at 267 pounds contest weight, with off-season weights reaching 300 pounds at just 5 feet 7 inches tall. That represents a 60 to 70 pound increase in stage weight over the course of his career, a dramatic transformation that turned him from a natural prodigy into an Olympia contender who placed second at Mr. Olympia in 2012, 2013, and 2014, coming agonizingly close to the ultimate title. What makes Greene's transformation even more notable and significant is his emphasis on the mind-muscle connection, a concept he popularized that emphasizes mental focus on muscle contraction during lifts. He has been a vocal advocate for building a strong natural foundation before any potential enhancement use, emphasizing mindset and training over quick fixes or shortcuts. What separates Kai's transformation from everyone else is that it wasn't just physical. He rebuilt his mind, discipline, and identity alongside his body. From natural competition stages to Olympia contention, Kai's evolution showed how mindset, consistency, and obsession can reshape a life, not just a physique. Joe Palasios. If you want to talk about a transformation that absolutely shocked the entire bodybuilding world in recent years, leaving jaws on the floor and eyes bulging in disbelief, you have to talk about Joe Palasios, a man who earned the nickname The Machine for very good reason. This man went from 185 pounds in 2020 to a staggering 265 pounds by 2024. That's an 80-pound transformation in just 4 years that had absolutely everyone in the industry doing double takes and questioning their own eyes. But what really sets Joe Palasios apart from the pack is his complete and total transparency about his journey, including the challenges he faced along the way. He's been incredibly open about what it actually takes to achieve such dramatic results. What's particularly fascinating about Palasios is his background story. He's shared incredibly personal stories about battling eating disorders as a young person, going from being a fat kid in elementary school to dropping weight dramatically for football, then swinging between extremes before eventually finding his path in bodybuilding. The man literally went from 227 pounds as a high school junior to 145 pounds before eventually finding bodybuilding and becoming the machine he is today. His coach, Justin Compton, has even remarked on how unusual and exceptional his continued progress is. Now nicknamed the Machine by fans and competitors alike, Palasios represents the new generation of bodybuilders who combine genetic gifts with absolute transparency about their journeys, helping to educate and inspire the next wave of athletes. What made Palasios' rise so shocking wasn't just the speed, it was the visibility. Every stage of his transformation happened in public, forcing the bodybuilding world to watch in real time as his body continued growing far beyond what most thought was genetically possible. Devon Bernardo. When it comes to the craziest teenage transformations in the world of bodybuilding, Devon Bernardo's name comes up immediately and consistently.
We have the one and only Devon Bernardo.
One of the craziest teenage steroid transformations you'll ever see.
Devon's story is unique because bodybuilding was literally in his blood, flowing through his veins from day one. His father was a bodybuilder who competed in 11 to 12 shows. His mother competed as well, and he grew up completely surrounded by the sport. He was working out by age 10 after spending years watching from the gym's babysitting room while his parents trained and taught aerobics classes. What's fascinating is that despite being raised by bodybuilders, his parents actually didn't want him to go down that particular path.
But actually, when I started doing the whole bodybuilding thing, they didn't even want me to do it. they're like, oh, don't go down that road. You know what I mean? Because obviously, like, you know what kind of direction it could lead you into.
But once Devon decided this was his path, there was absolutely no stopping him. He won the 2018 Natural Mr. Canada Junior Bodybuilding Championship and became known as the original Arm God, before names like Josh Minoy and Shizzy came along to claim similar titles. His father's strategy to scare him off by having him do a show backfired in the most spectacular fashion possible.
And then I did my first show and then won overall, and I loved it even more. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I want to do another one. So So yeah, I've been competing ever since then, basically.
Devon went from a slim jock build to doubling his size over approximately 2 years, transforming from amateur to professional bodybuilder through intense training and an emphasis on consistency that became his trademark and calling card. Devon's transformation sparked heavy debate because it happened so young and so fast. In just a few years, he went from a lean junior competitor to a full-blown mass monster, reigniting uncomfortable conversations about teenage bodybuilding, pressure, and how early extremes can permanently shape a career. Lee Priest. When we talk about transformation in bodybuilding, most people think about the before and after of someone building muscle over many years. But Lee Priest showed the world a completely different kind of transformation, one that happens year after year, cycling between absolutely massive off-season bulk and contest-ready shredded condition in ways that seemed almost impossible. Born Lee Andrew Priest McCutcheon on July 6, 1972 in Newcastle, Australia, Lee began lifting weights at age 12, starting as a normal skinny twerp at around 120 pounds. By 13, he entered his first contest and won, beginning what would become a legendary career that spans decades. Lee's early gains were nothing short of remarkable. By age 20, he had packed on over 70 pounds of muscle, weighing over 200 pounds after relocating to California. At just 5 feet 4 inches tall, this made him one of the most densely muscular humans walking on the planet Earth. But what really made Lee famous, what earned him countless viral videos with titles like Lee Priest's Bulk versus Cut Transformation, the most extreme in bodybuilding history, was his willingness to balloon up to monster-like off-season forms exceeding 285 pounds before cutting down to razor-sharp contest condition. His training philosophy was instinctive and high volume, typically 20 to 30 sets per body part with 6 to 8 reps to failure. He emphasized basics like squats and rows, and rejected rigid training splits in favor of training based on how his body felt each day. The man would drop 60+ pounds during contest prep while retaining vascularity and fullness, demonstrating a level of body control that seemed almost superhuman to observers. His diet during cuts was abrupt and strict, 12 to 16 weeks focusing on clean staples like chicken breast, rice, vegetables, and fruits, while ramping up to 1 to 2 hours of daily cardio. Lee's contest history included wins at the 2002 San Francisco Pro, 2005 Grand Prix Australia, and 2006 Ironman Pro, plus a 2013 NABBA Mr. Universe overall title in a comeback that proved age was just a number. Lee's transformation wasn't a one-time event, it was cyclical. Few bodybuilders in history could gain and lose massive amounts of weight repeatedly while keeping muscle fullness and conditioning. His ability to control his body year after year made him a walking contradiction to textbook physiology. Marcus Rule. The transformation of Marcus Rule represents perhaps the most dramatic shift from average guy to absolute mass monster freak in all of bodybuilding history. A change so profound and so dramatic that it defied belief even among those who witnessed it firsthand. Rule started out with a scrawny build that gave absolutely no indication of the incredible size he would eventually attain. Looking at photos of young Marcus, you would never in a million years predict that this unremarkable-looking German youth would grow into one of the most frighteningly massive bodybuilders to ever walk the earth. In approximately 2 years of initial training, he began a transformation that would see him become one of the most talked about physiques in the entire sport of bodybuilding. What set Rule apart from his competitors wasn't just his size, though that alone was jaw-dropping. It was the way he presented it with absolute ferocity and unapologetic intensity. He turned his poses into most muscular spectacles that became legendary in their intensity and entertainment value. When Marcus hit a most muscular pose, veins would pop out of veins. Striations would appear where you didn't even know muscles existed on the human body. His shoulders looked like they belonged to a creature from another planet, and his arms were so thick they seemed to defy the laws of physics. Though he never won the Olympia title, he became a massive fan favorite precisely because of how extreme and unbelievable his transformation was. People couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that this freakish mass of human muscle, this walking anatomy chart, had once been just another skinny kid in a German gym, dreaming of bigger things. His extreme size focus represented a philosophy that prioritized overwhelming presence over the classic aesthetics of the golden era. Marcus didn't care about looking pretty or symmetrical. He cared about looking absolutely massive and otherworldly. When Marcus walked onto a stage, he demanded attention through sheer mass in a way few bodybuilders before or since have ever managed to achieve. He was living proof that with the right genetics, the right training, and the right mindset, the human body can transform into something that seems almost alien in its proportions. Kevin Levrone. Kevin Levrone's transformations were fundamentally different from most bodybuilders because they happened multiple times throughout his incredibly long career. He became famous for what seemed like almost supernatural comebacks that defied the normal rules of physique development and left sports scientists scratching their heads. What made Levrone's transformation so remarkably unique and unprecedented was that he would take extended periods of being untrained, not touching the weights for months at a time, letting his physique drift far away from competition condition, and then somehow return to extreme condition in just months. Where other bodybuilders needed years to build their physiques, Levrone seemed to operate on an entirely different timeline. He earned the description of having cellophane skin, because when he dieted down for competitions, his skin became so thin and his conditioning so extreme that it looked like plastic wrap stretched over anatomy charts. Every muscle fiber, every striation, every vein was visible in stunning detail, as if someone had peeled back his skin to reveal the muscular system underneath. Levrone was known for having no halfway efforts. It was all or nothing with this man. He would be completely out of competition shape, looking like a regular gym goer, then suddenly announce a comeback and appear on stage looking like he'd never taken a single day off from training. This ability to transform so rapidly and completely became his signature, and it made fans and competitors alike wonder if he possessed some kind of genetic gift that allowed his body to hold onto muscle memory in ways that defied scientific explanation. These rapid comebacks defied conventional wisdom about how long it takes to build and maintain competition-level physiques. Most experts believe that muscle gains took years to accumulate and weeks or months to rebuild after time off. Levrone proved all of them wrong repeatedly, cementing his reputation as one of the most genetically gifted bodybuilders to ever grace a competitive stage. Levi Connelly. The transformation of Levi Connelly represents the modern era of documented bodybuilding transformations, where every single stage of the journey can be tracked and followed through social media in real time, creating an unprecedented level of transparency in the sport. Connelly started from a completely different world, the world of modeling. He came into bodybuilding at 175 pounds with a natural, untrained physique in 2022. He wasn't overweight, he wasn't particularly muscular, he was just a normal guy who decided to see what his body could truly become when pushed to its absolute limits. This wasn't someone who grew up dreaming of being a bodybuilder. This was someone who discovered the iron later in life and decided to go all in. The progression is remarkable and inspiring to track. Connelly spent 16 months training naturally before making the decision to enhance, and he's been completely transparent about that journey every single step of the way. He documented the natural phase, showing what could be achieved with just food and training, and then he documented what happened when he made the decision to take things to the next level, never hiding behind false claims of being natural. By 2025, Connelly had grown to 234 pounds, a gain of nearly 60 pounds of quality mass. His shift from modeling to bodybuilding represented a complete change in lifestyle and identity, from someone focused on aesthetic leanness and conventional good looks to someone pursuing maximum muscular development regardless of how it might affect his modeling career. What makes Connelly's transformation particularly interesting and valuable for the bodybuilding community is the consistent training documentation throughout. Every step of his 3-year journey has been tracked and shared with his followers, making it one of the most well-documented transformations of the modern social media era. Aspiring bodybuilders can literally watch his progression from month to month, learning from his experiences and understanding what realistic progress looks like. Paco Bautista. Not every transformation in bodybuilding ends in triumph. Paco Bautista's story serves as a sobering reminder that the pursuit of extreme size can come with serious consequences that deserve attention. Bautista was once considered one of the greatest physiques in bodybuilding, a man with potential that seemed limitless. His early career physique was aesthetically pleasing and showed the kind of balance that judges love to reward. But somewhere along the way, the pursuit of more size, more mass, more extreme development led to a transformation that went in the wrong direction. Bautista developed a distorted midsection, often referred to as bubble gut, that essentially ruined his look through excessive methods. This kind of transformation, from aesthetic peak to distorted physique, highlights the potential downsides from aggressive methods. It's a reminder that in the pursuit of size, more isn't always better, and that there are very real risks associated with pushing the human body too far. Studies have shown that professional bodybuilders face significantly elevated risks of sudden cardiac death, 5 times higher in pros versus amateurs, with autopsies revealing enlarged hearts and other structural changes. Other risks include hormonal imbalances, liver damage, and tendon tears. Bautista's transformation serves as a cautionary tale for anyone considering this path, a reminder that the line between impressive and excessive is thinner than many realize. And there you have it, 10 of the craziest, most mind-blowing bodybuilder physical transformations the world has ever witnessed with its own eyes. From Bruce Randall dropping over 200 pounds before building himself into a Mr. Universe champion, to Ronnie Coleman adding over 80 pounds of pure muscle to become an 8-time Olympia winner who will forever be remembered as one of the greatest to ever do it. These stories prove beyond any doubt that the human body is capable of absolutely extraordinary change when paired with an extraordinary will. That brings us to the end of this video. For more interesting videos like this, click on the cards on your screen.